welcome to this extremely original wrap-up of the Penn Relays that took place a few days ago, or I said this past weekend. And of course, we have the most pronounced individuals in our Caribbean community when it comes to sports and when it comes to the data and the facts of sports. There's a lot of opinions out there, but when it comes to data, I'm going to tell you I am pleased to be with none other than Secretary to the Cricket Hall of Fame, the Honorable Dale Brown, who has the data and everything that we need in our community on sports, and journalist extraordinary, none other than the Honorable member of the First World Cricket Hall of Fame, the Honorable John Melbourne. So at this time I will say let us kick it over to none other than our two superstars in the sports industry, John and Dale. Welcome.
Thank you, Professor. And I'm very happy and enthusiastic to be here and joining none other than that iconic voice coming out of New York by way of Kingston College and Cavaliers, Mr. John Melbourne. Greetings, John.
Thank you so much, dear.
Iconic.
My, my children would say, is that really you, Daddy? Yes, but thanks again, folks. And, hopefully over the next few minutes, you will enjoy our analysis, or should I say, post-review of the just concluded Penn Relays, the 2026 Penn Relays. And, to be very honest, I was not able to sit down and watch the races as I usually do because I was in Canada celebrating my sister's 85th birthday, and they had me very busy over the weekend. But one of the things, before we even talk about the races, Dale, I actually got some reports that this Penn Relays was weather-wise was what was the word they used? It was very cold, and of course it was raining, and so it was a little disconcerting to a lot of not only the athletes, but I understand even the crowd wasn't there as it was in previous Penn Relays, and I don't know, and Dale, I think it's so ironic because during champs, I sent a text to one of our broadcasters whose name I will not mention at this moment. And I said to him, the crowd is not as boisterous. That case is not in front. And he said, yes, you're right. Then they kind of subdue the celebration. So I don't know, because Casey was not on top this year, that has anything to do with what took place at Penn Relays this year. But, certainly the Penn Relays was on, and we are happy that our athletes, I think we had, 40-some schools turning up for Penn Relays this year, Dale?
Yes, we had 45 schools registered, and then another 5 institutions, tertiary institutions.
Yeah. And I do remember the very first, Penn Relays that Kingston College went to, because at the time my good friend, Kenneth Tony Keys, was a member of the Kingston College 4x1 relay team. And, so we were actually playing football one evening, a couple evenings before he was to travel. And it was real fun that evening, playing in the park and knowing that he's going off to Penn Relays. And then when he got back from Penn Relays, showing us his watch, the Penn that they won. And it was, as a youngster, I guess that was exciting for us. But, let's talk 2026 Penn Relays. And I don't know where you want to start, Dale. 4x1, 4x4.
Yeah, the girls 4x1, I think, would be a good place to start, ladies first. And, I would think that Edwin Allen they were, I wouldn't say, they put on a great clinic, a great show in turning back St. Diego and Excelsior. We had four schools in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth school would be not so much a surprise, but it was Mount Alvernia. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud of Mount Alvernia because they train at Cornwall College on Cornwall's field. And of course, they're like our sister school because they're right across the street from us. So it gave me great pleasure to see them. You know, they made the finals. They didn't. They came in sixth, but
Yes.
I'm just proud of them. Really proud of them. But Edwin Allen really put on a serious show there, and they have now won 8 out of the last 10 editions of the girls four
Sprint,
by one.
sprint, sprint relay.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, they do own the pen record of
Oh,
43.18, I think it is.
that is the super team. There are two super teams, back to back years, of course, with
The twins and Serena.
yeah, yeah, really, really good stuff, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no surprises there. That's the bottom line. Absolutely no surprises there at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And to see San Diego coming through for second, certainly deal, quite interesting because I thought San Diego, in fact, leading up to champs this year, I thought San Diego girls would have done a little better than they did in champs. But to see them get that second place in the Penn Relays, kudos to San Diego. The Monk Street girls.
yes, they were good, and especially considering that last year, I don't think they made it to the Championships of America's finals. I
Mm.
don't think they did
Oh,
make it. So this is a welcome return for San Diego's girls.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
As far
So yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you continue, deal. I was going to say as far as the boys 4x1, you want to touch on that before we go to the
Of
four
course.
by.
So we do the
Mm,
4x1s. Yes. So here now we had, I would think, not that much of an upset because we know that things change and teams change. Because I think that when Jamaica College brought in the youngster Kai Kelly, that
mm-hmm.
really, really strengthened their team tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they were second at champs. They were able to turn the tables and win it this year at
Penn
Penn.
Relays. Mm-hmm.
And the champs winners, that's Excelsior, they finished down the track, sixth. But as you know, the margin of victory or the margin from first to sixth is not a great, it's not a great margin.
Yeah.
So it's just that Excelsior just did not come through on the day also. But JC's team was they well deserved. Well deserved.
And yes, and Excelsior was without Raquel Marie, their top sprinter.
Sprinter, right.
And
Mm-hmm.
if I might interject, I like when I hear the names of these athletes being called on the program. I know that some of them are there, and while we mention the missing ones, but I'm sure that when they're listening to this program, they will be excited to hear their names being called for participating in the relays.
Yeah. Yeah. So John, yes, because Reed did not run, as you know, at champs. So they won without him at champs.
Right,
They
right.
were not able to overcome his absence at the Penn Relays this time around, especially with teams being able to bring in their class two stalwarts into the mix because
Yeah.
we're able, as we mentioned before, Kai Kelly, who,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, is a first year class one athlete, class two athlete. He has another year in
Mm-hmm.
class two. Yeah, yeah. But the funny thing is, and it's not really funny, I just couldn't help but notice it, John, is that last year Jamaica College finished sixth in the race and Excelsior Calabar won it.
Mm-hmm.
This year they flip it and they finished first, and the winner from champs finished sixth.
Yes.
which was Excelsior. So
Yeah.
JC went from sixth to first, It just
Right.
shows
Right.
you, how this thing it flips. Yeah,
And in a relay on the day, you never know what the button changing, the I maybe even the weather conditions impacted some of the athletes more than others. You know,
absolutely.
Hmm.
And some people will say that the weather is the same for everybody. But
yeah,
that is not really true because
no,
some people get,
psychologically,
yes.
because let me tell you, I remember when I used to play my little football here, playing in Brooklyn when I just came back here, and the first year we got to the playoffs, late September, and there it was the experience in taking off your clothes and going out there in shorts with the temperatures, I think it was like in the low 60s, maybe high 50s at the time. It wasn't a pleasant um, period for me
Mhm,
because it's
mhm.
the first time I've ever played in those conditions.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
and so, as I say, weather conditions, a lot of our youngsters, it impacts some more than others differently too.
Hmm, hmm.
I also think that the whole environment that we had in the past with the Carnival Village, the West Indies Carnival Village, you
Hmm.
know, and the feeding program that we had all those years that changed. Okay, it might have carried over onto the crowd as well. Okay, because it
Mm,
was not the way it was not as established as it used to be. There were some changes there, and I was looking to see if some of the warm clothing that we used to provide for these athletes coming into this Penn 50-degree area, and I did
yeah.
not notice it as much. 'Cause, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, John. The long sleeve Team Jamaica Baker shirts that used to keep them warm.
Yeah, yeah,
All of that.
the sweat, shirts,
The sweatshirts,
uniforms.
yes, I
Yeah.
never saw them, so I think that might have had an impact. And also the crowd, they're coming out of champs with a boisterous crowd down there, And
Mm.
the crowd noise was not as we're not hearing the Volvitas being blowing like we like down in Jamaica, okay? Where they're blowing the horns and all that stuff. It was quiet until the Jamaicans started running or participating. The crowd is a bit calm, very reserved.
Mm.
Okay, versus champs, which was noise at noise to the max.
Mm. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to go over to the 4x4 for girls.
Before we go 4x4 girls, Dale, if you may, the high school, and it was a championship of America's race, but the 4x4 international, that the Bahamian team won, St. Augustine.
Mm.
Oh, no,
Um,
that is the 4x1. Yeah.
yeah, the 4x1 with Alpha Academy second.
Hmm.
Okay. That's the consolation race you're speaking of.
Yeah, yeah, they call it the international.
Yeah, yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
We have to let our viewers know that it is a consolation race because
Mhm.
it's for those who did not make the championship finals
Right.
that get the opportunity to run at this point. So actually, the last place team in the championships should get more accolades than the first place team in this race.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
I mean,
but
is
that's
this
okay.
something new, Dale, for the first time that's taking place?
No,
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 no, it
no.
isn't.
Okay.
No, it is not. To answer your question directly, it is not. No.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
And of course, presented by Grace Foods.
oh yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we are the top three finishes in that race, by the way.
Right.
With
Well, no,
the Caribbean at the top three with St. Augustine's from Bahamas, and Alpha came in second. love that because I love Azaria Harris, by the way. I think she's a wonderful talent.
Yeah.
And then we had Homewood.
Homewood, yeah.
They placed third in it.
And St. Mary finished fourth.
Yes, and William Nib was fifth, and Virtech
Mm,
was sixth.
yeah.
So, and for anybody who wants to know, the international is for the teams, the international teams that did not make it
To
to
the
the championship
Championship of Americas.
final.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had 4 international teams in the championships, and then 6 in the international final. So
Right.
it showcases, I guess, in this case, the top 13 international teams. The top 13 international teams got a chance to run the 2 races. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you'd want to go to the boys.
If the boys international,
Right.
they placed what? Who was it? Placed third, I think.
I'm sorry.
Um, we placed third, I think. Was it
No.
in the boys international?
Right. William Nib won it.
Yeah. You're right. Yes, Neil. You're right. Yeah.
William Nib won it, and it was good to see Sanjay Seymour come through because he didn't run until that particular race, and I don't know if he's injured, but I see him with a calf sleeve on his right calf. So I would, at the very least, he's managing an injury.
Injury.
They're
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of injury, you know?
Yeah.
So we ended up with the top 6 places. We mean in Jamaica, in
Yeah.
the international. So first was William Nib, and I'm very happy and proud of them. And second was St. George's.
Okay.
And then third was Calabar. And then fifth was Monroe. And then sixth was Herbert Morrison. Are we missing any places there?
Fifth, fourth.
Huh?
And fourth was the exception.
Actually,
I apologize, gentlemen. I'm sorry. Fourth place was Cornwall College. I apologize for that.
John, he's just pulling he's pulling your ears, okay? Are we missing anyone by any chance?
So the Cornwall team did it and came in fourth.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But it was good. It is good to see these youngsters get the opportunity. And I'm just sorry that William Nib was not in the championship final.
Championship, yeah.
Yes, because they have 2 wonderful sprinters there. In Sanjay Seymour and Jabari Matheson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, but
and the experience, the experience is a deal. International at an international level. It augurs well for these youngsters, especially those who have visions of going on to higher heights in track and field.
Yeah.
And to see what it's like to be on the international stage. Maybe away from your own home crowd and your own home fans cheering you on. Yeah.
Well, that might be the case, but I think it benefits those more who are not planning to go on to international, because on their resume they can say at one time in their life they left Jamaica. They went to Penn Relays to represent their country. Okay, and they know when they're leaving that they were not competing against the KCs and the JCs and the Calabar, because as champs, they know that those 3 teams dominated, okay? And they expect when they go to Penn, compared to the other schools that are going with them, they expect KC and Calabar and Excelsior and those guys to also dominate. But the experience, John, that is something that would have forced them, while they are in high school, to focus on their training and on the discipline of training just to get to the Penn Relays.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it
Hmm.
doesn't change. It doesn't change the fact that I would love to see us having a better international athletic meet in Jamaica than what is taking place at Penn Relays, because I think we have the weather to support it.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Well, we have champs.
Yeah.
We have champs, and
Yes.
we have the junior track and field nationals coming up shortly.
Yes, and I would love to see
And you had the trials, junior trials, the Carifta trials.
yes, but I would like to see the 50,000 who turn up at Penn Relay turn up down there in Jamaica now for an international meet.
Yeah. Yeah, deal. So we move into the 4x4s.
Yes, sir. Yes. And thanks for bringing back with the international race. Yeah. So the girls 4x4, huh, well, Heidel went into it seeking their fifth straight championship,
Mm-hmm.
and they did not disappoint.
Yes, sir.
But what a race it was.
What a race. What
What
a
a
race.
race.
I
And
actually got to see that replay deal.
okay. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, gentlemen. I don't know. All the coaches have their different philosophies, and it is clear that the Edwin Allen's coach philosophy was catch me if you can,
Catch me if you can.
because he had his two best runners in the second and third leg.
Uh-huh.
And so
Mm-hmm.
everybody expected them to lead at the last exchange. And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a significant lead too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but one of the things when you have your best runner on that last leg is that they will run down people.
That's right.
They will run them down.
That is right.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
And I would have loved John, and it's not in hindsight, I said it before. I would want to have seen Kellyanne Carr and Natasha Fletcher lock horns
Down the
once
stretch.
again on that last leg at Penn Relays, because you saw the races with them at Champs in the Open 400, and you
Yeah.
saw the race with them in the 400 hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have just loved to see both of them draw the baton just about the same time to see
Yeah.
what would have happened.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
knew whoever Fletcher went up against on that last leg, I knew she was going to run them down.
And, and,
Mm.
and and the fact remains that the crowd wants to see the two top at the end neck to neck. No, that is what they want to really cheer about, because at that point, they know what they're looking at. They're looking at the stallions, okay?
Mhm.
So when you find that you're, one is being run down, they're just wishing that it was the other person who was in the final leg. Okay?
Mhm.
Yes, so I,
Yeah.
I I went through that and I'm like, oh man. And the fact that you're being beaten at the tape.
Yes, and and Professor and John, I always think, regardless of who is doing the running down,
Mm.
the crowd gets behind them,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and
Well,
they draw energy from the crowd.
Yes.
and get the adrenaline flowing.
Yes.
Yes, but Fletcher, what a leg she ran.
Oh.
Yeah,
Just because
she
they won
did.
this, but it unfolded that way because I thought Kellyanne Carr on that second leg is going to give you the lead. But the problem is when Fowler gets that baton, she will maintain the lead. The
Mm-hmm.
problem comes on that third leg.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Can you hold that lead?
I mean, I watch those girls, they're running, and they're running so smooth. You
And,
know?
and Fletcher didn't try to reel her in immediately. She took her time
You know?
until she got to the turn for home.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
you
That is when the sprint
know?
speed that is when the sprint speed kicked in.
Yeah,
Okay?
and that comes from a lot of experience to gentlemen, because
Hmm.
as you know, Penn Relays, their track is not a true oval. It's not an oval track.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So the curves are actually 120 meters
Uh-huh.
long, and the straightaway is only 80 meters.
Okay.
So you have to know what you're doing and start that last acceleration in the last part of the turn.
Yes.
Because if you're waiting and saving your energy for the last 100 meters, you're going to finish 20 meters beyond the finish line.
Finish 20 meters short.
You come up short.
Come up short.
Yes, you're going to come up short. So, so she used her great experience and she's very smart. And I know that Coach Bennett, he's well aware of these things. So he's going to tell her, make your move at, that final move. This is where you need to make it. Maybe when you get to the high jump, if you can picture where the high jump pit is, the high jump bar is located. Once you come around and in line with it, that is where you start that final arm swing and shift gears to come, run down that person. But what a race, man. What a race. Homewood managed to come fourth, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually 2 days. It was good to see Alphonsus Davis in the race. I mean, they came down the track, but they were in that final.
I think something went wrong because they are better than where they finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, they are not really as well known for the long sprint as they are for the 800 and 1500 and stuff. So it was really good. Good to see them there. Yes, sir.
I mean, it would be interesting, to hear what the coaches think about this year's a performance versus last year's performance, and to what they might attribute any difference in performance to. Because yes, it was cold. Okay? And you could see some of the athletes trying to warm up, you're rubbing themselves and doing, and working out, doing the sprints, extending some energy, jumping up, just trying to loosen their muscles. Okay? You could see that taking place all across the field at different areas.
Yeah.
And when you see the starter and the officials at the starting lineup, okay, who are officiating, and they are wearing coats. Okay? They are wearing coats.
Deal.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing to see how at the Penn Relays, the races just go off in clockwork.
Yes. Well organized.
No, it is really amazing. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It really is. Yeah.
So here's my jackpot question now. Why is it we don't see the number of what you call false starts or recalled races as we do at champs?
That's a very good question. The recalls that we do see is a result of falls or drop buttons or something like that. But to your point, compared to champs, look how many races are being run in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
But not all of them are out of the blocks, of course. But yeah.
True.
But the point is well taken. You very rarely see those callbacks. And I can tell you, most meets that you watch, you don't see an inordinate amount of recall. We have to start back this race and all these type of things. You don't see that often. But I think they have to do something about it at champs now.
I have a problem with the color codes that, they need at least 3 color codes at the starting block, okay? Green, yellow, and red. This green to red business, that's not how stop sign works. Okay? Okay? I mean,
green means it was nobody's fault. Maybe the starter's fault.
Yeah.
But it's a warning.
When the guys are standing there and they're like, okay, is it a green or a red? And when they're walking towards you, because you're the ones who the meter detected. It's like sink or swim. And when it's a green, you can feel the exhale. The crowd exhales. Everybody exhales. No, you should have a green, a yellow, and a red. So
but Trevor, when the official pass lane 1, 2, 3 and coming towards lane 8 or 9, you know. That is where that's where the athletes sweat. Yeah, is it a red?
They had me sweating, man. Like, no.
The
But
boys 4x4 deal.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's not a big race in the boss.
Which
And
one is this now?
the boys 4x4 Championship of America, where both Jamaica College and Kingston College, or I should say Kingston College, was dethroned because they finished what, third in the race?
That was
No, they
Bullings.
finished fourth.
That was Bullings
Fourth.
that won it.
Yeah, fourth.
They finished fourth.
And the Olympic gold medalist took Bullis.
Bullis, man. He's good. He is good.
And you know, listen, we had won it for so many years, you know, in a row. Jamaican team won it for all those years in a row.
Yeah.
And you know you're gonna lose it. And to be truthful to you, John, all things being considered, I know that probably at least one of those years we were fortunate to win because they button drop, runners fell, pick up that baton, and still this youngster came hunting.
Yes.
And I can't but help admire he's a schoolboy.
Yes.
He is a schoolboy and just admire him. Nothing else about it. And when they won their heat, I don't know how they and Casey ended up in the same heat, the same qualifying heat.
Yeah.
But because you qualify on time, you can't just sit and say, well, it's top 2 and I'm going to go in. You have to try to win the race. And he ran down Peter.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I know Wilson is supremely fit.
Yes.
And they are trained to run these races, like 2 and 3 of them in one day. I didn't know if Peter could come back.
Yes.
That same kind of effort.
And he ran out of gas.
Yeah. And Bullis, I think, you know, they deserved it.
Yes.
And they set up their team in a way where second best runner ran this leg and second leg, and the top runner ran the last leg.
Yes.
Even if they had let Quincy Watts run a different leg, you're putting it up now and hoping that you can hang on.
At the fourth leg.
And they said, no, we're not going to leave it like that. We're going to let him do the hunting. He's going to hunt the leader, and we are confident he can catch them. But they had the lead, you know, and they were very, you know, at the last exchange. And I think, it was just great, I believe. You know.
Yeah, that is why I was worried about the nutrition in a jail, because I don't eat that in the yellow yam that the day before.
Yeah, right.
You know, and really, to be fair, Casey didn't have the team that they had last year. It's a weaker team. And certainly Bullis, Wilson, he's not getting any slower, I think.
But this is last year, you know.
Huh?
It's his last year.
This is his last year.
This is last year.
Yeah.
So for 4 years they have been chasing that title, and so there was a sigh of relief that he finally was leaving school, and they got it in his last year, because it kept coming close. Okay, each year they kept on improving, but simultaneously I have to say, well, you won it this year because we gave up our better team that we had the years before. So, you know, so that also is, you know, that is, we're running against them with the same team pretty much, but they are not running against us with the same teams.
Well, it does give Jamaican schools a chance to start another streak.
Yes.
Another winning streak.
But I'm telling you, these races stress me, you know, even when I'm watching the replay.
No, man, but it was a very good race, and I enjoyed it. It was somewhat anticlimactic, though, because you wanted to see Quincy Wilson having to run down somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And snatch it, but it was anticlimactic for me anyway.
Yeah.
Run down somebody that scares him.
Yeah, yeah, you know. But very good competition, you know. Um, yeah, I don't know if you want to come back to that or if you want to go and look at the 4x8.
Yeah. Look at the 4x8. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think Edwin Allen was our best placed finisher. They came in third.
Third. Yeah, in the girls.
Yeah, they came in third. I think that was a very good race also, but we're no match. No match for anything like that.
Mm.
Did you get to see that race or no?
No, I didn't get to see that one.
But was that was a one button change or was it a four button change?
For yes, regular relay, the
Yes.
IMG Academy out of Florida,
Four
Mm.
they
by
won.
eight.
Yeah, the 4x8. They won it way, way, way out front
Way out
by
front.
almost 10 seconds.
But
And
explain
Edwin
these two.
Allen.
Explain the two button change to me, or the one button change.
No, it's just like the 4x4 or the four,
Yeah.
have
Mm.
each runner runs
Yeah.
800 meters
Right.
and then,
Right.
you know, so you have three exchanges.
Three exchanges.
Yes.
So I think sometimes I miss one exchange. What I'm saying to myself. But my
Yeah,
20.
because the race is so long.
You know.
But Edwin Allen, they have the great. I love Fowler, by the way, but the IMG Academy, they're just much, much too strong
Mm.
for our Jamaican counterparts.
Yeah. We don't have that four. That
No,
yeah.
no, absolutely not.
And it traditionally, after 400, 800 is sometimes a challenge for us. I mean, we're the sprint factory.
No,
Yeah,
well, you know
that might
what?
change.
Something Professor mentioned like last year. And last year, Alphonsus Davis got the silver medal and Edwin Allen got the bronze.
Mhm.
Edwin has repeated the bronze, but Alphonsus now finished sixth in this race.
Mm.
So we kind of regress a little bit this
Mm.
year in the 4x8s.
Yes.
Right.
So we had finished, gotten the silver medal, you know, but we went down and Sydney Pagan, the STEM school, they
Finish fifth.
finished they finished fifth. They are
Hmm.
another school that have good middle long distance runners, and they finished fifth. You know, but we only got And by the way, John, I don't know if you know that the second place finisher gets a silver medal, third place gets a bronze medal,
Mm-hmm.
fourth place gets a bronze medal, and fifth place gets a bronze medal.
Mm.
Okay.
So even though Sydney Pagan finished fifth, they got a bronze medal just like Edwin Allen. So you
Okay.
kind of have to say this is a third place bronze and this is a fifth place bronze to separate the two.
Mhm.
And that is good because I've always had a problem with the short top recognition system that they have.
Mhm.
Because when I look at golf, for example, golf recognize the competitive nature of the event.
Yes.
And as you said, when you have point 3 seconds or 3 seconds or less than a 2 seconds separating one from fifth, you know, it seems unreasonable not to recognize fifth.
Mhm.
And when it comes to a relay, as John says, when a button change, I have seen button change where the first team that comes out second from the
Mhm.
change. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
the team that it's the second leg first. By the time the change is over, they are running second because the team that comes in behind them have a faster button change.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so
And
except for a 2 second button change, someone is not being recognized.
mhm, mhm.
Okay, that
and
that
and
doesn't seem
gentlemen, yeah,
to measure up.
speaking of recognition, I'll introduce it here. Breaking news.
Mm.
I would love to see in Jamaica that every finalist in every event, the top eight, gets a certificate stating that they are all ISA.
Yes.
Like how you have the All-American. Once you make the finals, you're an All-American.
Yes.
And I would love to see those. It's tough for a boy or a girl to go to champs and finish eighth. And people look at them like, oh, so what you did at champs?
They never left the island.
They never let, so you recognize them because you gave your school points.
Right.
You
Mm.
gave
And I would like
athletes a
to go
point.
further. I would like to go further and say that if the government is not prepared to do this for our athletes, the diaspora ought to band together and set up some form of trust fund, okay, for our
Mhm,
athletes who leave the country to go and represent us as ambassadors abroad. So when
mhm,
they get back home, if it's a fund that deals with their medical care, okay, or a fund that deals with some form of compensation down the road, that they are registered in this fund. Just like when soldiers go to war and when they come back home, they're all veterans. Okay? Whether they work in the hospital or they were driving the fuel truck, it doesn't matter what they do. When they come back home to your country after you went abroad to serve your country, they're recognized as veterans. Okay? So everyone who leaves that island and come abroad to represent us, when they go back home, they are in a special group by themselves. And if the government is not prepared to recognize our athletes when they go and burst their guts out there trying to represent us, then the diaspora are to examine this, okay, and cement and start putting a program in place to recognize our ambassadors.
But this is a high school event now, Trevor, as opposed to an international event where we select a team to represent Jamaica. High school, you're representing your high school, mark you. At the same time, yes, you're representing Jamaica, but this is a high school event, and I don't know how much we can ask the government to do in terms of the high school and providing funds to help in the
Well, you see,
sport
John,
development.
well, let's put it this way. We are always talking about funds when it comes to development. And what we're prepared to recognize them if they when they go to the Olympics because they represent the country. But my question is, how do they get from stage 1 to stage 4 to represent us in the Olympics? How do they get from primary school to the point where they pass through high school and they actually start representing the country when they get to high school, if we're not prepared to invest in them with the vision from there in primary school? So I can't say, well, they're representing their school. It is from the school that they go to represent the country. The government does not manufacture anybody for the Olympics. The government is looking at what Cornwall College is doing in their high school and producing, and the factory. The factory is the high school, The factory is not the government.
Hmm.
The factory is the high school. And when we produce, then we're able to send them to the Olympics. So I would rather look at the seedling on the
Yeah.
farm and give it more care than talk about the big grown tree that when a hurricane comes it still stand. But the seedling,
Hmm.
when a little wind blows, it falls. It's that what we talk about in every capacity about development. That we develop from the grassroots.
mhm.
That is where our strength lies.
Hmm.
True,
True.
absolutely.
True. Hmm.
If I know that if I am representing my country, when I come back, I am in a wall of fame somewhere. I'm gonna, from high school days to college, I mean from primary to high school, I'm gonna fight like hell because I know the reward that is there. There's a reward when you get to champs. That when you come back to your school, there's a on the wall each year it shows who represent the school at champs. Okay? Every year you have a placard up there with the name of the students who went to champs from this school, year by year by year by year. So if I'm a 10-year-old, I'm looking at going there next year because I want my name on the wall. That's a part of the motivation. Okay?
Yeah.
That is why we
Well,
say we have to go to primary school and start from primary school. Build that thing build that interest in them, that motivation in them. Okay? So when you come back now and you walk in the school as a Dale or a John at KC and you walk along the wall and your students come and they stand beside you and say, yes, this was my year. That was 25, 30 years ago. This was my year. So yes, yes. So you are that man. Yes. Can I take a picture with you? Okay. Living examples. Okay.
yeah. And to that point, Professor, the primary school, at the primary school, prep school level, you have the parish championships.
Yes.
In track and field, we're talking. You
Yes.
have the
Yes.
parish championship and you have the regional championship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the national championships
Right.
before they go to high school.
Mm.
So as you're talking about development, and this goes for any sport, development has to start from the nurturing stage where you introduce them to the sport, let them have fun
Yes.
with whatever they're doing. And if they are so inclined, they continue along that path. They might start out in track and field and then they realize that they love football more or they
Mhm.
realize they love cricket more. But you give them that choice,
Yes.
allow them to enjoy it and express themselves. And that's why when people look at the big old oak tree and forget the seedling
Yes.
that brought it up there and think that the big old oak tree should be able to do whatever they feel like doing.
That's
Of
right.
course, yes, but where's the national, where's the national pride and whatever and commitment to your nationality?
I mean, when we hear complaints about children not going to school because they had no breakfast, and children are going to
Mm.
school because they had no shoes, most of the time we are not talking about high schoolers, you know.
With, right.
We're talking about primary school
But I was
because
just watching.
high schoolers can fend for themselves and decide that that they're gonna sleep at school because they're not going home.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just watching a meet from. I'm not, and I have to go back and see what meet it was from Jamaica, primary school meet, and some of the kids running barefooted.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
of course, of
Mm.
course.
Yes.
But John, in all for equality and justice, we have to make sure we touch the field events.
Oh
And
yes.
we don't finish the boys 4x8
The 4x8,
game.
just to remind you. So the boys
JC
4x8,
JC
our
finished
best
eighth.
I'm sorry.
JC finished fourth.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was that's the only team that we had in the finals.
you're right.
And it was Union Catholic, which is not true. It's in my neighborhood. They won it, and they beat IMG Academy, which was
Out of
another.
Florida. Mm.
Yes, yes, yeah. But it was a good race, But Jamaica College, last year we did not fare well in the 4x8s either.
Mm.
I think KC was our best finisher in about sixth place. And I think Calabar and Edwin Allen were there, but they finished way down the track, like last and second,
Yeah.
and 11. Yeah.
4x8 and the distance medley maybe are the two events now that we'll have to try to make some headway in.
Yes. Yes. That is so true. You know. Yeah. But before we yes, and I just want to mention that UTEC, their 4x100 meter team in the college division, they won the silver medal there.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that with Gary Card, who
Yeah.
won the college 100 meters. So I just want to make sure
Yes.
we get those two. We're dealing with the
Yes.
high schoolers, but we have to recognize them
Mm-hmm.
for what they
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Um, yeah,
And you mentioned Gary Card. It's good to see him now getting back because I think last year he pulled up in our trials and missed the season, the
yeah,
Penn Relay, and well, he missed Penn and he missed Carifta.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But he has been battling injuries for
Yeah.
years.
Hmm.
But he ran very fast. When was that? In the semi, what would be the heats? He ran 10.03. easing down. But in the finals, conditions were not conducive to fast times.
Right.
So he only
10:34. 10:34.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, at the very top, they said the Friday and Saturday was brutal
Yes,
in Philly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But dear, we talk about the athletes and the difficulty that they have battling weather conditions. But what about the officials who have to be out there all day?
Oh,
you know?
you have to respect them, man.
Yeah.
You have to respect them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're getting paid.
Yeah, but to be out there all day, stand up in that cold weather, Trevor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
no amount of Blue Mountain,
no, it's rough,
Yeah.
man. Because Saturday I know was cold and
Mm-hmm. Rain.
wind and yeah, the rain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
So, equal justice deal, field events.
oh yes, absolutely. So we can just deal with the girls straight and then deal with the boys straight. Do we want to
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start off with the discus. For the girls, discus.
Mm-hmm.
Jamelia Young from Clarendon College.
Yeah. Yeah.
She won the silver medal.
Mm-hmm.
Dion just Shaw from Edwin Allen, she got the bronze.
Mm-hmm.
Young is very, very interesting. He is very, very, very interesting because she's a class 2 athlete and she won the event, last at champs, and to come here and get the silver says a lot about her
Mm-hmm.
and for the future, I do believe.
Prepare her for class 1.
Yes, and for the future, because
Yeah, certainly.
yes, and then in the shot put, we have Marla K. Lampard from Clarendon also, Clarendon College, that is. She got the gold medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she won the event at Champs and she finished 3rd at Carifta. So she has been consistent all season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that if she makes a team for the World Juniors, that she will do well there.
Right.
Yeah. Not many persons. Any more comments on those events?
Not really.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have in the javelin, we have Zoel Jamel.
Jamel.
Of Immaculate. She won the event at Champs and she came 2nd at Carifta and she won the silver at Penn's. So again, is another one. We hope that she's encouraged to
consistency.
Yes, to continue, and
yeah.
give her the opportunity. Yeah, and the other medalist was
Xavier Bernard in the triple jump.
Yes, in the triple jump, out of Heidel, and she won the gold. But the good thing with her, she didn't perform that well at Carifta, but she's the champs winner. She won the event at champs, So, but she did a lot of events. She did, she medal, I think, in 4 events or something like that. So she was a triple medalist, gold medalist.
Mm-hmm. But,
she's another good, very, very good athlete. Very good athlete, So I was very happy to see her, just to see her, how would you put it, succeed like that. At champs, she won the long jump, the high jump, and the triple jump. She won 3 gold medals at champs.
I guess she'll have to decide which event she will settle on eventually.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's Javine Bernard. I hope I did justice to her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it is interesting to what the professor had brought up a point. He brought up about I think, comparison a little bit to what they did last year. We did much better last year because in the triple jump, we had two medalists, gold and silver. And this year we just had the gold, so that's not so
The
bad.
goals.
And the
Yeah,
high jump, we didn't have anybody medaling there. And last year we had a silver and bronze there.
yeah.
And in the long jump, we had two medalists, a silver and bronze again. And this time we came up short. So it seems there's a little drop off in the field events,
Mm-hmm.
our results there with the girls. Just a little drop off there. Don't know the reasons why, but there is a drop off. Any thoughts on that, John?
Weather conditions.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah. So we'll switch over to what? To the boys?
The boys. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So with the boys, we start off with the discus again. And we got a 1, 2, 3. We got Salmon, Kennedy, and Street out of
Right.
Calabar.
JC Calabar Monroe.
Yes, sir. And just to touch on Salmon a little bit, you know, he won the gold in class 1 discus, and he also won Carifta.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
The youngster from Monroe deal. Is he class 2? Was he last year class 2?
You're talking Street.
Regime Steele?
Street was in class 1.
Streets, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Regime Streets.
They finished
okay.
it at order at champs, so, you know, 1, 2, 3
Mm.
at champs. So
Okay.
they come and they duplicate that, you know. Yeah. But Monroe, you know, have one of the best throws program on the island.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, in the throws, they and JC were tied with 43 points. They had the most points at champs. Between them and JC were tied for it.
Yeah.
You know, but the last few years, Monroe has been either number 1 or number 1. They have been very consistent,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
But a question here that how wide are the field events being practiced in Jamaica where the high schools are concerned?
I think they do a fairly good job, with the exception of the pole vault and the
Javelin.
javelin. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we do quite well in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Triple jump, long jump, high jump, discus, shot put. Yeah.
Yeah, we do quite well in it.
Okay.
Both at Carifta and at on the world stage. More important.
Because we do have, I mean, we have very good coaches in those events now also.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. We do well in it, Professor. We do well.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the shot put, we have Johnson from KC, Susana Johnson in the shot put.
Mm-hmm.
He got the bronze medal, and he was also 3rd at champs. You know, so I don't know how much of a hope we have for him, but you know, he did well, did very well.
Yeah.
And in the high jump, we have Santino Distin. He's now competing for steps.
The brother of one.
Lamar Distin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lamar Distin. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I guess you can say it runs in the family.
Very easily, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And his sister motivates him and inspires him.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I'm happy for them. Yeah. But here comes the big one. The triple jump.
Triple jump. Michael
Yes.
Andre Edwards.
Yes, sir. Record.
Yes.
Record. And he's a wonderful athlete. And the thing about he won it last year, so he defended his title
Yeah.
from last year, you know. And this year, the other youth from Kingston College, Riquelme Hunter, who won the bronze medal. He's not in the class of Edwards because he's
Right.
jumping almost, I guess, of
Oh, the
almost a full meter behind him.
out the pit. He's jumping out the pit.
Yes, yes. Yeah, but Edwards, he won Carifta and he won champs, you
Champs.
know.
And
Yes,
now Penn.
I know Penn. And Hunter, third at Penn, second at champs, and second to Carifta, to the same Edwards. So
Mm-hmm.
he's been very consistent. And again, sometimes if we focus on just the gold medalists, but sometimes you have to look and see the guy that finished third has been consistent too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he deserves accolades.
Right, right.
You have to track the improvement of these athletes as they go from year to year. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And when they do burst out, Professor, you feel so good because you can say, I've been watching that boys from 3 years ago. You know?
Yes. That's
Yes.
right.
But some people, they rather wait until the rose blooms, the flowers blooms, and they admire the beauty.
Yeah.
Brother Dale, they only come to pick a mango off your mango tree when the mango start ripe.
Yes, yes.
When you're planting it and when it needs some water, they were nowhere in sight. Okay? But when mango start drop, everybody your mango dropping, all right? Unfortunately, this is why we keep on talking religiously about the development stage.
Yes, sir.
Okay? The development stage. Okay?
But
That we can see.
Professor, even with the mango tree, you tend to want to get the mangoes on the sun side of the tree first because they're the sweetest mangoes.
That is so true, John. And Professor, we mentioned that we fall short in the javelin. We had a winner at Carifta, not Carifta, at Penn Relays in
Penn
the javelin.
Relays.
But there's a but. This young man from Edwin Allen, he won.
Is not
He is not a Jamaican. He's from
right.
Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
So he won, and we give him all the kudos. We give Dominica all the, what you said, the power and the glory.
Yeah.
But he's not the Jamaican, so we have to commend Dominica for it because that's where he's from, and I'll be watching him with interest because he won the gold medal at Carifta, and of course he won boys champs, and he's way out of league with athletes. He's way out.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy for him.
With the proper development, he will be looking at him in world championships and Olympics in the not too distant future.
Well, I don't care what you guys say. He came to Jamaica to eat some Jamaican food, and he's
benefiting. Yeah. And yes, no question. And then in the long jump, since we're on the little Bahamas thing before, this youngster Carlin Archer.
Yes.
He got and he won Carifta gold for the Bahamas in the long jump. So it was good to see him. The same school that win the 4x1. He went to that school. St.
Augustine.
Yes.
Mm.
So we have to give him credit. We have to really acknowledge him and know what he did, etc., etc.
Well, it was nice to see this, different schools being spiced throughout the net, throughout their results. That everything was not, locked down to John's, selfish school, Casey.
I think we have a reunion this weekend too.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
It's this weekend.
Yeah. So I think, John, the Penn Relays, by and large, whether or not I was at home, so getting to watch it on Saturday, watch it live and see how everything unfolded. I enjoyed the competition that was on show and enjoyed these youngsters really, put their best foot forward, etc. And there are several youngsters that we keep in mind and watch them. This is a World Juniors year,
Mm-hmm.
so we are very interested to see how they are going to perform.
Mm-hmm.
How they're going to perform on the world stage. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Shania Douglas was there, but
She
her
didn't. She didn't have the support.
no, no. So I think she's one who
That,
came for the festivities more or less. But she came out and people got to see her on the track.
Yes.
yeah, she ran a leg of the relay.
Yeah, those of
Yeah.
us who didn't get a chance to really see her in person got a chance to see her in person now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that girl, her aura is so powerful, is unbelievable, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
powerful aura.
one thing I have to say, Dale, I don't know what our young ladies are eating,
Ask Trevor.
but we have a lineup there of young ladies now who are really putting right, should I say, the right foot forward
We are,
Mhm.
I'm
and
sure.
running some really good times.
Yes.
Oh, no question.
And even in the distance running, I mean, they're running and they're running so smooth. Like, what, are they even trying? You know?
Mm,
And they just eat. They're just chewing up the track.
Mhm.
mm.
And putting distance between them while the, without that is they're not in overdrive and they're putting distance between them. You know?
Yeah.
It makes me beginning to wonder to Deal.
Mhm.
With the Junior World Championships coming up,
Mhm.
if we are going to be seeing more Jamaicans, more youngsters born outside of Jamaica, but to Jamaican parents showing up for our trials.
Oh, oh,
Well,
that's a very good thought. Definitely. I don't know how much they are encouraged because I know there's a reluctance there because just from past experiences, that much I will say, there's a reluctance there. And many a times they have to go out of their way to um to make sure that they are represented and they get the opportunity.
right.
That's all I
Mm,
would say to that.
yes.
And I might also say that because of the way we drive our children, okay, because no doubt that we do drive them scholastically or otherwise. If they are into track, they are the standout in their schools,
Mhm.
okay? Because I have relatives who ran Penn from attending school in Brooklyn. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when they ran their heats in the relay, they won their relay heat. The school overall might not have a compressed four that won the heat that won the race, but if they run the second leg, they burn up the second leg. And that's what we'll be talking about. Like, oh no, E1 is it. Okay?
Mhm.
I know because I do know of a particular example. I won't call any names. Years ago, brought his daughter down to Jamaica to run in trials. I don't know what transpired, but he told them, well, she doesn't have to run for Jamaica. No. She's US born.
And
Mhm.
that was a serious comment when he made it.
And she went on to win Olympic 100 meters for the US.
If we look at the history of Canada and the 100, even England and the 100, take a look back and see the people that we have in our history that they are of
You see,
Jamaican
but you see,
descent.
I think why it is a little bit different today. Our youngsters are outstanding, and you will really have to be top shelf to come and compete with them.
And
And
this,
and our youngsters today are getting the best coaching, I think,
yes,
available.
and over here, the scholarships are lined up for them over here if they are tops in track too.
Mm.
Okay? Because I can talk about, well, I don't want to go personal, but my son ran track when he was in Milwaukee, and he ended up getting a Wilson scholarship.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, and yes, those are some of the constraints that our diaspora might be facing. Like, okay, if you're running for Jamaica, yes, you get the black, the green, and the gold, and we say country first, but that is where we come to even talking about some of our cricketers that they say, show me the money. And a parent who is struggling is going to look at where the ease is going to come into the system.
Mm.
And yes, if you do have a student in the USA who is a top track athletes in their high school, they are being scouted.
Mm.
Okay, they are being scouted for their school. Okay, and if they're running for outside of the country, it might change the dynamics. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
It's something for a group dedicated to thinking, to sit down and examine. Because again, we speak about the diaspora and how they impact Jamaica. And it's easy for us to talk about the remissions. Oh, that's the money. Or the
Mm.
help when we have a disaster. But there are some countries who are running things in the United States. Okay? I don't want to go
Mm.
into too much detail on that. But there are
Mm.
some people from some countries who are running things in the United States. And they're not talking about whether they're running track or not. They're
Mm.
talking about the type of political influence they build to get what they want for their country.
Mm. Mm.
Okay? And whether or not we should be scratching our chin and thinking along those lines as well. Okay?
Mm.
Whether we should be driving our children towards, you know, being lawyers versus being accountants and being teachers and being nurses. Because it seems that the people who make the law, study the law, examine the law are the people who have the influence in certain capacity.
Mm.
You look down in the Congress, and they say out of 400 and how many persons in the Congress, 396 of them are lawyers. Yeah, and whether as a diaspora, we have to maybe evolve also and you know change some of our focus.
Yeah.
You know, but all being said, is there another chapter in the pen, or did we close out or um, close out the different categories? There is still the open question as to whether or not we get as much from pen as we put into pen.
Mm.
And that is not a question that is going to be answered in a hurry, because some of the things that we are doing right now are like we speak about earlier. We are planting seeds.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are many of us in the diaspora who look at pen as a springboard. Doesn't mean we could not have done as well back home, but we still look at some of the scholarship that we get as a springboard into some of the areas that we find ourselves. So eventually, one of these days, we're gonna have a genius like a Dale who's gonna sit down and examine all the benefits that come from those who do scholarships and those who stays home, and measure it as to whether or not it balances out,
Yeah.
or whether or not those who go through a pen and get a scholarship does as well as those who stays home and get nurtured home.
Mm.
Okay, because in the final analysis, we have to be able to judge the results in order for us to justify the decision. Okay,
Yeah.
otherwise we might be walking around in circles and not know that we're going around in circles.
Mm. Anyway, Trevor, I need to make a Formula One
Got
stop.
the deal?
Yes, sir.
So we are on a
So,
wrap. So we are on a wrap for Penn Relays.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Well, let me say thank you, gentlemen, so much for taking the time out to at least archive this conversation. Okay, because without you doing it, yes, the event took place, but the recording that we are speaking of right now never took place. So again, I thank you so much, and we'll look forward to doing the same thing next year and probably doing it live from Penn. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Yes.
Okay, Dale, take care, man.
God bless
Trevor?
you both. And
Okay.
it's a
Yes.
pleasure as always.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks.